Well, at the health center here, we have a program based in primary care to help people with heroin problems. We can prescribe buprenorphine naloxone. I'd be happy to help him get connected with the program if you'd like.
Well, that sounds great. He won't listen to me, but he might listen to you, and he knows this clinic here.
When I hear about somebody who's actively using heroin, I worry about a couple of things. I think about the HIV risk, and I also think about the risk of overdose. What do you know about your nephew's HIV risk and his experience with overdose?
Well, I make sure he gets clean needles from the pharmacy. But it's interesting you mentioned overdose. When my nephew came to stay with me, he'd just gotten out of jail. And, I was real proud of him at first. He got into some treatment and was coming to meetings with me. But I was worried about overdose because I know you lose your tolerance after jail.
Right. If you haven't been using for a while, you can get a low tolerance, especially when you're coming out of jail or detox.
Well, then after about a week, I came home one night from my church meeting, and he'd got into my pills. He was bluish, and he wasn't hardly breathing. It scared the dickens out of me. I called 911. I did mouth-to-mouth, and then the rescue got there and gave him the Narcan.
Wow. What happened next?
He, they brought him to the hospital. He stayed there for a couple hours, and then I brought him home, and the next day he's out using again.
Wow, that's a really scary experience. You saved his life. I hope you don't have to go through this again, but unfortunately, as long as he's living with you, there's going to be a risk.